board. Let's get rid of that.
All right, now that we're recording, quick recap for everybody. We're all safe. Flowers and beers. We're good. No problems.
All right, so we're just going to jump right into this. If you have any questions, Tim, just let me know. I'll make sure you get caught up in anything. But Vasily is off to the side. You're about 20, 25 feet away from where Victor and Izek are fighting. Izek has not paid. He does know you're there. I mean, he came out and saw you both there, but he isn't paying any attention to you at the moment. Victor's more of his concern.
And about how far into the water are the rest?
You guys are about 100 yards out.
Okay.
Mornak is currently in the boat. You are in the water with
Right, and I moved away from the boat with Mornak in order to call down the lightning, right?
Yep, so you didn't catch him. You got it. So, quick little read through here, and we will jump in. There'll be this flash of lightning that brightens the lakeside, this dull white of electricity reflecting off the cold gray clouds that roll across the sky above you. Still, like every other night before, every other day, there is no star, there is no sun, there is no moon, just grayness. This thunder crashes a second later, and even the earth itself seems to tremble. You see the fat man out there in the boat splashes into the water, flailing about like a chicken with its head cut off. The crashing of the thunder coincides with Victor's body smashing into a tree, having been thrown aside by Izek, who comes at him now. The man's twisted arm boils with black flames and smoke. You can see blood trickles down his nose, across his lips, and drips from his chin onto this cold, damp earth. In this deathly silence, you can hear a splatter, tiny flecks of red against the pale gray dirt. And behind him, there's a slight flutter, the billowing of a cloak. In the deep voice that commands, stop. Victor and Vasily, I need fear checks, wisdom checks, with 2 banes.
That's a 9 total.
Okay.
12 for me.
So as you're moving forward a little bit, Vasily, you can see it looks like a simple bird at first until it comes forward. You see that it's instead a bat. There's these deep crimson eyes. In between this flash of lightning that blinds you for a moment out on the water from mud, in return, there's this man standing there. You can feel the cold air that surrounds him. It's like death just radiates off of him. He's quite tall, this bluish gray sort of skin, pointed ears. Very well dressed with slick black leather armor, boots, this billowing cloak. But the darkness, the evil that radiates off of him, you can just feel it in the pit of your stomach, Vasily, twisting and turning your insides into knots. So you're going to be feared of this fellow. And Victor, you're able to hold back your fear for a moment, but again, you can still feel just the absolute evil that radiates off of him. Your stomach twists as well, and this isn't the type of person you might want to get too involved with just yet. Izek will stop as he's reaching out for you, Victor. You can see his hand just a few inches from your face as you're up against a tree. You can feel the heat from these flames that are rolling across his twisted arm. And you see his eyes stop, stares at you, and he slowly turns his head to look behind him. Out on the water, Buford will splash about a few feet away from you, Mud. At the end of your staff, Mornak, this woman hangs. She's clearly dead or just on her final last breaths. As her whole lower half is now missing, just leaving a trail of blood across the water. You can see the fish out in the distance, Mud, maybe 20, 30 feet away. Its fins just cresting the water as it snakes back and forth towards you. Again, it's about the size of the canoe, so about twice your size. And you've seen this thing, this huge dagger-like teeth on either side of it that's had this girl. And so with that, who would like to go fast or slow?
I will go. How far away is this new person from me?
About 30 feet.
30 feet? Okay. I will go slow.
So before I answer, just to confirm, Mornak and the girl are closer to the shore than me.
Yes.
Me and Buford are closer together, and the fish is coming towards me. I'm in between Mornak and the fish.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I would like to... Am I able to go fast but hold my action?
Yeah, until the very end, or depending on that.
Until the fish gets within range.
Okay, yeah.
Then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go fast, but I'm going to hold until the fish gets close to me.
Gotcha.
I think I want to go fast.
Alrighty. Mornak is fast.
Victor's going to go fast.
Victor is fast. All right, in that case, Mornak, you are up first. You can see this, what's left of the girl hanging off the edge of your staff. Her grip will, start to slide off a little bit as her form just falls back into the water, floating there lifelessly. This fish, it's coming towards you, but you got mud in front of your boat, so it's more like going towards mud, but it's, coming towards you in that direction anyway. What would you like to do?
I think I want to go ahead and slip my staff away from the corpse and pull it back onto the boat, and then I want to start actually paddling towards mud.
All right. Would basically just be considered your move. So, yep, you will start paddling towards mud. You can hear this voice in the distance behind you, Mornak. As you glance over your shoulder, you can see a form. Yet another has joined the others over on the shoreline. You can see this huge billowing cloak come out, but you can't really see much more of that between the darkness and the fog. But there's definitely somebody else there as well that seems to be talking with everybody. And with that, Mud, you would be up next.
All right, so does Mornak get the boat within reach of me?
Yeah, he'll be able to get it right over to you.
All right, and is the fish coming at me?
Yep.
So what Mud's going to do is he's going to reach up and grab the edge of the boat and slam his hand down into the water. And he's going to cast Tidal Forces, which any creature within medium range, including the boat I'm now holding, hopefully, has to make a strength challenge roll with 1 Bane or is moved 2d6 yards away from me. So what I'm kind of hoping to do is push the boat towards the shore and the fish away and Buford away.
Gotcha. And you're hanging on to the boat?
I'm going to hang on to the boat since it's within reach now.
All right, so I'll have the fish make a saving throw. There doesn't need to be one for the boat, obviously. So a strength check?
Strength check. There should be one for Mornak, though, because if he fails, he might become dazed from the sudden...
Just so strength check, Mornak. And
Okay, that's going to be terrible. I got a 4.
All right.
And the fish got a 19, so it is good.
Well, the boat and Mornak and myself are pushed 12 yards, or 11 yards, I'm sorry, back away towards the shore.
Okay.
Well, the success, it's moved half the distance. So the fish has still moved 5 yards away from us.
That's just so actually throwing you guys 16 more yards apart. Which actually, yeah, it won't be able to reach you. So, yeah.
And Buford, too.
Oh, he's not even going to make it. He's only at 1 hit point. So, yeah, you'll just see him, fling through the waves off into the distance along with his boat as well. He'll be flailing about for a moment, but quickly disappear beneath the surface. And let's see, actually. Yeah, As you push this fish back as well on Buford, you can see that this huge fat man kind of drifts off a little bit. The fish quickly will take a quick turn angle, and it would be up. So it is actually going to go after Buford since he is closer currently. So you'll see this thing come out. It looks like maybe what Mud would think would be like a large catfish or some sort of large toothy type fish, but it comes up and just swallows the whole front half of this man. You can see his legs go beneath the surface, and the whole shadow swims down underneath your feet, Mud. You can feel the swirling around your toes in the water, but he has a meal at the moment and disappears. Let's see, that would put you guys 2 movements away from shore if you're just doing a regular paddle, Mornak. And Victor, in that case, you are up.
So I forgot Goober's name. Is it Ishmark?
Isaac Strahd.
Isaac, yeah.
Ismark's the other Goober.
Is he? Yeah, there's too many eyes in this.
Yes,
in
there
this
is.
One, but what is he doing?
He is right in front of you. He hasn't acted yet, but you can see he was reaching towards you with this mangled up one arm that he has. Looked like he was going to grab you by the face or something, but when this figure comes from behind him and tells him to stop, he does stop. You can see his face snarl up a little bit, and he's actually turning around to face whoever it is behind him, which you can see as well. This very nobility-looking man, sort of dark and brooding.
Okay, I think I'm gonna hold my action, and if he moves anywhere, like forwards, backwards, like if he stands still, then I won't attack him. But if he moves anywhere, I'm going to basically attack him.
Isaac, you mean, right?
And just not the cloaked.
I mean, if he's frozen, you
Figure
can't take his arm.
of Doomless.
There's a brand new arm right there, ready for taking. Nice. All right, so just let me know if you wish to do something when it happens. And where you're standing, Vasily, off to the side a little bit, you see this another flash, a bit of feathers in the sky. You can see a raven come off of a series of branches up above in a tree and just dive straight towards where this new man has appeared. It comes down within maybe 5 yards as it's diving straight, almost like a falcon would or something. It's just diving directly towards this new figure. 5 yards out or so, you can see there's this huge flash of feathers that just sort of start drifting to the ground all around you. And you see Stefania slam into the back of this man. Where you're standing as well, Victor, you'll just see this splash of blood go across Isaac, across your body, as a dagger impales this man from his back through the front of him. And he lets out this grunt, and Stefania, this girl you had with you, appears behind him. And she grabs the back of his head, this hair that he has that's drifting down over his shoulders, and pulls him back. You can see she's getting ready to say something. Do you two, well, I guess, Victor, do you do anything yet or no?
Well, if Isaac's not gonna do anything yet, then no. I'm still gonna wait.
All right. And with that, this new individual, you see it, the lips curl up a little bit at the corners. You can see a little bit of blood dribble down off of his corner of his mouth. And he'll turn his head looking at Stefania, and you see her eyes widen up a little bit. Looks like she's getting ready to say something. But he just reaches up and grabs her by the face. Just a quick little twist of his hand. You can hear the snapping of her neck as her body crumples to the ground. He looks down at this blade that's through his chest and sort of reaches back behind him, pulling it free. There's this sickening steel on bone. Isaac will turn, looking at this person for a moment, his back to you for a moment, Victor. And then he leaps forward, grabbing a hold of this new person, one of his huge mangled arm wrapping around his shoulder, the other hand wrapping around the man's waist, and the two of them crash to the ground. In the distance, you hear this scream. It's Vasily, Victor, as you guys look over, you see Irina standing next to a large rock. Her gown that she had is pretty much just in tatters. She's covered in blood, a couple bruises, but she lets out this scream as this new person and Isaac crash to the ground, and she turns and takes off running into the woods. Do you do anything yet, Victor?
Yeah. When Isaac like goes to leap, I think I'll swing down my sword because that's what I was prepared for. So
Give yourself another boon as well, then.
Not,
If it
okay.
matters.
Well, hopefully I can get a 6. Come on. Nope. No, that's going to be a 9 on the dice. So.
Yeah, maybe you're expecting this demonic armed man to sort of walk away or something, but he doesn't. He just turns and leaps atop this other fellow, dragging him to the ground in a crash. So your blade swings out, just barely skimming over where he was a moment ago, but the two of them roll back and forth on the ground. Isaac will let out this grunt as he's pushed back a little bit, but holds tight. So Vasily, that would put you up. You're muted.
When I look at this guy, is it pretty obvious he's like undead?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I cast Hide from Undead, and I go running after Irina.
All right.
And I use my quick step just to get a little bit farther.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, she was a little bit out, but by the time you're able to, you can't fully catch her this turn, but you can definitely keep up with her and see where she's headed. She's just on a...
You have the right idea!
She's just in a full-blown panic as she's running.
Well, so am I. So am I. I'm completely consumed with fear. First, there's this fear from this ghost. Now it's fear from this undead thing here. So I'm not in a good state.
Yeah, you will be able to be just a few steps behind her, but quickly catching speed as she's crashing through the woods. You're quite quickly on her tail. And yeah, she's just in a complete panic, screaming a little bit. You can hear her mumbling something about that he's coming, he's coming.
Wait for me, dearie.
And
Morgan, do you have a lightning storm in your room? Your lights were just going back and forth. At least on my screen they were.
No, I don't think so. But if my power goes out, it's because of the storm. So let's see. Is it? Can everybody went? So that's the end of the round. Who would like to go fast or slow?
I'm gonna go fast.
You said it'll take 2 movements for us to get to the shore?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going slow.
Let's see. Vasily is fast. Mornek is slow.
I will go slow as well.
Bluto's dead.
How far away are the two fighting on the beach from Victor? Is it because
they're right there, like maybe 10 feet in front of you?
Do I
If that.
So when you say it's 2 movements for us to get to the beach, does that include Mornak moving once and me pushing the boat once?
In theory, yeah, you could do that.
That's I'm going slow, and my intention is to just push the boat.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, between the two of you, paddling and pushing and swimming, yeah, I'd say you could reach it if both of you use the action to do so.
Okay. So, yeah. Mordak, if you're going slow, you get your regular action. I'm going to get us to shore. Between you and me, we'll get there.
Okay.
I think Victor's going to go fast.
Yeah, so Victor, so Mornak, Mud, and Vasily are all, or no, Vasily's faster. Okay. So Victor, then you are up first. You can see on the ground both this new person who is showing up. And you guys were up in the coffin maker's attic. It looks like the same man that was out in the street, but you never really got a good look at him either way. So you're not quite sure. Mud's the only one who really had a good look at him. But yeah, Victor, you were up first as the two of these men just roll around on the ground. But you can see this new fellow that has shown up, this noble-looking man. You can see these black nails start stretching out from his fingertips. There's just a spray of blood across the ground, another second, third spray of blood. A couple covers the trees on the sideline. Looks like this is not going well as the two of them roll around on the ground. And in the distance, Vasily's just hauling ass and getting out of there.
Can I tell who's winning?
At the moment, no one's really doing well. Neither one's really getting anywhere until their turns are up and I roll.
Okay. I'm gonna go after. I'm gonna go after Izik's arm, and like try to of course the big monstrous one. Like I'm gonna try to hack it off actually. So would that technically be like a call shot or?
Yeah, you can try and do a called shot if you want. I believe it's like 3 Banes for called shot.
So. Oh wow. Okay. I'm like aiming for the general arm-ish, but not really. Yeah, I'm just gonna aim for Isaac then. The heck with doing a call shot because I can't afford that many Banes. Wow, the rolling tonight sucks. That's just a dead even 10.
So again, between them just rolling around on the ground and stuff,
Or
you're not
wait,
able to.
Do I still add the?
You would
Remind me again. Do I add strength into this roll? Or
yes,
no?
you do. Yep.
Okay, then it's a 12, so it's not as bad, but I still think I missed.
Yeah, still didn't hit Snoop. As you swing down, you can smash your sword into the stones a little bit. See a few glints of sparks go off, but these two are just rolling around at the moment, not quite able to get a bead on either one of them. That would put Vasily. You would be up next. Quickly leaving the others in the distance. They would be about 30 yards behind you at the moment. Up ahead, Irina, you can still see she's running and then just crashes over the side of a hill. You can hear her body just thumping as she's falling and just rolling down the side of the hill. And then this grunt, she hits a tree.
All right, with my quick step, my cloven hooves, I just jump over whatever it was that she tripped over, and I'm just going to start dashing behind her. She sees this crazy-eyed horned man with a shadow blade running after her. Halt! Hold! Wait!
We're the heroes.
Yeah.
We promise.
Yeah, you see she bounces a couple times over and then just smashes up against a large rock, her head cracking off the back of it, and she'll just lay there still as you finish, coming over whatever it is she tripped over, a couple of slicks and logs there. Come down this thing. You'll be able to get right up to her. She looks like she's alive and stuff. She just got knocked out as she smashed into this stone.
Mm-hmm.
When you get there, you can see that it looks like she's been roughed up a bit. She's a little bit bloodied, a little bit bruised. Her clothes are pretty ragged looking. She's not in any dire circumstances or critical or anything, but she's been roughed up a little bit.
Is she unconscious?
At the moment, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm just getting to her, trying to make sure that she's not dead, and I'm just trying to tend to her as best as I can.
And everybody else is going slow, so down on the ground, you can see where you're at, Victor. These black nails start stretching out from this man's fingertips. His ears will curl back a little bit. You can see this blood just splashing across the ground all around for a moment. And then he hurls Izek off of him. This huge man just seems to blast off this other one up into the air. His hands go out. And this man who's still on the ground lifts his hand up, these black nails that are stretched way out. And you see a bolt of black energy blast forth, smacking Izek as he's in the air, and it just hurls him back into the old pine trees behind him. A couple of these limbs puncturing through his back, up through his chest, one in his shoulder, one in his gut. impaling him to this tree.
Free arm.
And with that, this new fellow turns, his eyes just glaring at you for a moment, Victor, and you can see just this absolute feral vampire-looking creature staring back at you. Fangs still covered in blood, his mouth, his whole body in front of him just covered in gore. And he stands himself up, turns, and starts to run back to where Irina was. And he's just on a full-spaced run. And Izek is going fast. So behind, as you look back over your shoulder at Izek, he just kind of shoves his arm forward. You can hear the ripping of his flesh as he pulls himself off this tree, and he snaps down, reaching down, snaps this branch off that's in his guts and steps forward. This huge axe that he has strapped to the side, he'll reach back, grabs it with this one monstrous arm that he has, and just hurls it forward. It'll spin just past the side of your face, Victor. You can feel the blade sort of trims a few beards. As you turn and watch it, it smacks this new person, Strahd, in the back, and he hits the ground hard and scraps across the stones laying there. Izek will chuckle a little bit as he starts to move forward, going to retrieve. Actually, he has his axe. He's noticed, as you look back at him, his axe back in hand. He doesn't even give you a second look, Victor, as he's just marching towards this person that he hit with the axe on the ground. And with that, Mornak, you are up.
Okay, so obviously I'm going to use my action to paddle my ass off to try and get back to shore.
Well, that's your movement, right?
Yep.
That's my move action.
And I'm actually, since we're both going slow, I'm actually using my move action to paddle, and I guess my action as well, to swim and push and get the boat back.
All right. So if you kind of do it at the same time, just as you're finishing paddling, Mornak, you would still have an action left as you reach the shore. Were you paddling right to where, like, Victor and all of this is going on?
Well, we've seen what's been going on from the lake, but we haven't really known who this new person is.
Right.
So I think what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and sense thoughts on the new entity to see if I can pick anything up.
All right. I'm going to, as you pull up to the bank of the lake here, look over and you can see Izek as he pulls himself free. This huge axe as it blasts into the back of this new person. Mud, you will notice at first, this is the same man who got out of the carriage back in town. Everybody kind of assumed it was Strahd, but nobody really said much. So
would it happen to be the same man that we seen on the side of the road when we first got here as well? The carriage that left us the potions in the very...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Indeed. And actually, with that, I'm going to need the two of you to give me fear checks or will checks with 2 Banes first.
You said these are will checks, right?
Yep.
3.
11.
All right. So as you pull up Mornak, you look over and you can see this person. It looks like he was caught in between some sort of shapeshift. You can see these bat-like features, these stretched out ears that go around the side of his skull, this pale skin. His skin is really tight on his face, the fangs, these long black nails coming off of his hands, but he's still dressed in this nobility clothes. It's still now just covered in gore. Izek, too, looks quite bloodied up. You guys don't see any sign of a Vasily. But as you look over, you can just feel your breath catching your throat a little bit as you look at this. You've seen this man before, but up close, he's just the absolute evil that radiates off of him is almost just unfathomable. I'm sure with your time with your tribe and with other such things, you've seen evil, but it just doesn't compare. And Mornak, did you want to do sense thoughts?
I do, and I want to try and center it on Strahd. Well, the newcomer.
Sense thoughts. Does he need to do anything, or?
Let me just a second. Let me read the spell. I detect the location of each creature that is within the area and has an intellect score. Detected creatures cannot become hidden from you. The area moves with you and stays on the center that you reach.
It's kind of a area effect, so you kind of detect the thoughts of a little bit of everybody. I don't know if it's necessarily going to give you visions, but for the Strahd, why not? So if you kind of focus it on him, you're going to see this vision, Mornek. It only lasts a few moments before he turns to look at you, and any connection you might have had is lost. But that brief vision that you get looks like you're looking out, maybe through his eyes or something, on top of a loft or balcony of this huge castle that's behind you. You can feel the cold as the wind's whipping through. And way far down in the valley, you can see what looks to be a town. But when you look down, you just see the screaming face of a woman, this raven black hair, white gown, as she falls from this balcony just into the darkness below. And as soon as you see that, you almost sense both fear and remorse sort of overwhelms you for a moment. And then Strahd, or this fellow anyway, will look over at you, completely snapping any connection you had with him, Mornak. I will need another will challenge roll from you, Mornak, with 1 Bane.
So seeing Mornak, don't roll it with the Bane, because seeing him kind of concentrating, I'll try to reach out and grab him from the water and steal him up using a prayer and give him a boon for it.
All right, that's a 12.
All right.
And I have a -1 on my will, so that'll put me at 11 again.
All right. Take 1 point of insanity. It is just this absolute remorse, this fear, hatred. All these emotions just clash all at once when this man looks over at you, and you almost get the idea that these are all the emotions that he deals with on just an every single moment basis. They wash over you, something no mortal could deal with. And let's see, Mud, did you have anything else planned on your turn?
No, my whole turn was, my whole slow was to get us in.
Gotcha.
Because I assumed my move wouldn't get us the other way. I'd have to push as well.
All right. And the fish master is up there eating Bluto, so he is not bothering you. So with that, you can see Isaac as he marches past you, Victor. Doesn't really even give you a second thought. Is this devilish creature stands up. You can see the wound that's in his back, this huge open gash, slowly start stitching closed, the bones snapping back into place, his spine reconnecting, his skin fleshing over a little bit to this pinkish scar. And he turns to look at Isaac, sort of just waiting for this man to dare bother him once more. It's technically out of initiative, but what do you guys do? It looks almost like this standoff between Isaac and this other fellow for a moment.
So I'm assuming that wolves are going to be coming out of the forest, and I cast arcane armor on myself, and I position myself between Irina and the woods as best as I can, because I'm just completely paranoid, assuming more of those red-eyed wolves are going to come charging out.
Give me a perception check, actually.
Perception, that's one of my good stats.
So, and with that thought in mind, as Mud climbs out of the water, instead of letting the water drip from him, he kind of just touches his chest, and the water just starts icing up around him, and I'm casting ice armor on myself.
That's a 10.
Then you look around, Celia. You can hear a few snapping of the twigs, a rustle of the leaves. It's not really a path that you're on, maybe more of a animal path or a deer path or something, barely beaten down. But you don't see wolves. But you can hear something. It takes a few moments, and you hear another snap. You look over your shoulder. You're actually going to see what looks to be a body. Most of the face has been completely ripped off. One arm its rib cage hangs open. There is no lower half of it, but you see the arm come up and slam down into the dirt and start dragging itself forward, and then come up and push down, dragging itself forward. You see another second, this one missing a leg, as it hobbles forward, pulling itself in between the trees as it bounces along. A third and fourth, all these zombie-like creatures shuffling towards, not necessarily you, but they're aware of Irina.
They won't see me.
Yep.
If all else fails, I can just run away.
But you see a total of six. Six shuffling through the woods in your direction. These pathetic moans escaping some of their lips. Most of them look like they're moving very slowly, but they're within 30 to 40 feet around you.
Okay.
They look like they've been dead for years, just out here rotting away. How about Victor and Mornek? What do you two do?
I'm going to let Mornek decide his, because I think my action is going to kick everything back off again. So you go ahead, Mornek.
I think I'm going to hold my action, actually. I'm going to hold my action in case Isaac attacks Strahd.
My alarm was going off. All right, yeah, you can see Isaac is definitely headed towards this other person. I'll just say it's Strahd because everybody knows anyway. But as the two of them have this sort of standoff between the two, but Strahd just stands there waiting patiently as Isaac marches forward. And Victor, you see Mornek is waiting, almost like he's debating what to do, but nothing yet.
Victor's gonna go and try to stab Isaac in the back. It's like Victor is just extremely pissed off at this guy. He's giving him nothing but trouble, and he's kind of got that like bloodlust going. So he's just going all in after Isaac.
And I'm going to reach out and help guide his blade there, so he can take another boon to that attack.
Alrighty, so that's gonna be a 26.
That will hit.
Hey, Victor, don't you get something?
Is that gonna be? I'm assuming that's gonna be 5 over.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like okay. So that and that. That's going to be 18 points of damage.
Nice. So go ahead and describe what you do.
It's almost like these two are having this stare down, and then all of a sudden, like, Isaac's face just kind of goes blank as this blade is, depending on how much damage I actually do to him. And Victor, like, kind of pops out from behind him. And I done lost it. Yeah, pops out from behind him and just kind of puts his foot on his back, and he pulls out his blade, kicking him forward a little bit.
You guys will see Victor's blade go through the back of Isaac once more, bursting out of his chest as another wound opens on this man. Actually, I got to roll to see what he took from those trees that I never did. That might depend. Yeah, he will stumble forward a little bit, dropping his axe from this huge mutated hand that he has. And you'll see Strahd. He looks at you, Victor, locks eyes moment with you. And he'll start walking forward. Isaac will stumble a few feet, then drop down to one knee. Struggles to get himself back up, his hand reaching out, grabbing a hold of this axe. And as Strahd comes forward, Isaac's going to take one last swing at this guy. You can see Strahd stops just a few inches from the breadth of the axe as Isaac swings it across in front of him. The blade sweeping across, and with that, Strahd will come in quickly, grabs a hold of Isaac by the throat, leans down, he smiles, looks at him for a moment, turns, and he looks up at you, Victor. He looks back and says, "You will not keep me from her this time." And you see the flash of Strahd's hand as it just plunges into the chest of Isaac, and will come pulling back out. It has the man's heart still beating in his hand. Isaac's form will just drop where it's at, and he'll stand up, this heart beating in his hand, blood just spilling over top of his palm. Again, he just stares at you for a few more moments. Victor looks at the rest of you and turns and starts to walk away back into the woods.
Rearm.
What do you guys do?
I don't know if we could see it while we were paddling in. Is he going in the same direction that Vasily went?
And Irina, yes.
Warnack's going to be a little bit dramatic here, and he's just going to go, "Come back here! I'm not done with you yet."
This man will take a few steps and stop, turn. Says, "You're not done with me." Says, "And what would you have, Mornak? What would you like?"
I want you to leave Irina alone.
Says, "You have no qualms, no stake in such things. And you can't stop me, whether you would like to or not. Why don't you go back home? Go weep with the others. I am done here." Again, he'll turn, and there's this billowing of his cloak that just flutters behind him, and he's gone.
Okay, that saved me a spell slot.
There's this moment all around you guys. It's just silence. And then this cool wind blows. You can see Isaac's form shudder on the ground a few times and then lay still, this huge gaping hole in his chest where his heart was. And Vasily, these zombie-like creatures slowly shuffling in towards you as Irina lays there unconscious. You'll feel a cold breeze on your back. And then the voice, "What have you done with her? Out of my way." And you'll feel this cold grip on your shoulder that just flings you back out of the way. As this man is behind you, this same fellow that the others had seen, this same man that's cause your stomach to clench up. And he'll kneel down in front of Irina. And you can see in his hand that he has this huge heart that's just finally given out its last few pumps, blood spilling over onto the ground. And he reaches up and touches the side of her face. You can see these bloody fingerprints as they run down the side, and he'll look over at you. Back at Irina. He'll reach down, he bites his wrist, and when he brings it up, he places it next to her mouth. You can see that her form shudders a few times. Her eyes will flutter open a little bit, and he'll smile. He says, it'll be all right, my love. It'll be perfectly fine. And he'll look at you, Vasily. Your friends are waiting for you. You should get out of here.
None of us seen that, right?
No, just Vasily.
Why? So I'm just kind of dumbfounded that he can see through my spell. I'm just used to everything not being able to see me, so I'm just kind of dumbfounded. I thought that was just like my ultimate security blanket that I always had. It's like, who are you? What do you want with her?
You can see she lets out this quick gasp, and she kind of presses her back up against the stone. Her eyes looking over at you. Vasily, looking at Strahd for a moment. It's this heart in his hand. He doesn't really even give you a second look for the moment, Vasily, as he looks down and he holds up. He says, I brought you this, Irina. It is the heart of that man. It is a gift. He'll place it in her hands, and she quickly just drops it. She pulls her hands back and lets out a little bit of a screech. And he will come to enjoy it soon enough. And he'll reach out to his hand and says, come. This time we leave. You can see when he does this, her hands trembling as she reaches out. You get the sense, Vasily, it's not really of her own will that she's doing this. And he stops, says, no. It's got to be like this. He looks over at you, Vasily. You can see he stands up and starts walking towards you. What is your name?
I hold my shadow blade up as best defensively as I can.
It is not going to help you now, Fawn. What is your name?
And what reason would I give my name to a beast such as you? I know the power of names.
This is because you have no choice.
You may call me what you have called me, Fawn.
Well, one of you is coming with me tonight. He looks over at Irina. And she doesn't seem to want to go for a walk. And what is your dexterity?
My agility is 12.
Sorry, yeah. And he'll reach out and snags a hold of just your collar briefly, just enough to get a hold of you. He says, then it looks like you're coming with me. And he'll start walking, lifts you up a little bit and kind of holds you out as he starts to walk away. And behind you here, Irina says, no, do not hurt him.
I'm going to try to slash up with my blade and try to hack his hand off.
Go ahead and roll damage, because it's right there, so you don't need to.
Am I in the dark?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, I did 11 damage.
Nice. You can see this splash of blood. Your dagger digs quite deep. And he quickly lets go and drops as he looks down. Right in front of you, you can see this wound just close right back up again as your blade sinks into it. And it parts the flesh for a moment, but it quickly goes right back together. And
with my blade still trembling, I hold it up.
Feisty. There's a sense of urgency, Irina. Perhaps you've changed your mind. She'll walk up beside you, Vasily. She puts a hand on your shoulder. She's still trembling. It's cold.
I whisper, say, run!
He says, no. Go back with your friends, Vasily. He wants me. You can't be dragged into this.
Everyone can't have what they want.
He always gets what he wants. He says, very well, Strahd. I will come with you just like you wanted. Just leave them out of this. And he'll put his hands out. Of course, of course. Get out of here, Fawn.
I come and go as I please.
Still trembling.
He steps forward and holds out his hand for Irina. She'll look at you one last time, Vasily.
I shake my head, say,
Run. You have free will. Run.
Says, no. I cannot do it. I cannot. My brother, Mud, Monak, all of you. And yeah, she will reach out and take his hand. He lets out this chuckle. For a moment, there's this cold breeze, flash of his cloak, and they're gone.
Or what about those undead, those zombies?
They're still shuffling around, but with her gone, they do not see you or notice you. So,
How far off are they?
about the same. They're not moving very quick. They have a 5 movement speed. So,
Okay. So I look at them and just filled with rage, I say,
Pathetic! Pathetic! Don't you know the voice of the necromancer?
and I hold my hand up in the air and I cast Shrieking Skull. The skull appears floating over my hand, wreathed in bluish flame, and I hurl it at them. It goes flying through the air, and its mouth opens up and starts screaming at them. So they have to make a strength challenge roll.
oh, jeez. I'll just do one. Yeah, they're gonna fail that.
So, all right, well, they all take 6 points of damage as the skull comes screaming at them.
What kind of damage is it? Does it say? Or
I imagine it's sonic. It says the noise spreads through sphere, which is 3-yard radius centered on the skull. Each creature that can hear in the area must get a damage on a strength challenge roll to take 1d6 damage. 1d6 plus 1 damage.
so it doesn't really affect them in this sonic, since we just see bits and pieces of these old decayed bodies blow apart. One of their skulls shatters apart. One of them explodes from the chest. Another one, its arms blow apart as it crumbles to the ground and starts to decay. And you're gonna end up just taking out all these things. They're more of just a creepy thing. They're not very strong.
So it just starts circling around them until they're all blown to pieces. And then I just send it off screaming up into the sky.
You other 3 over on the shore bank. It will be a good 3 or 4 minutes before you can hear this shrieking in the woods, and this, I suppose it will be from more of a flash of light going up into the sky from where you're at, a flare in the distance. What do you guys do?
Without knowing what happened to Mornak, since we were in the water, I would, as soon as Isaac went down and Strahd, or what I assume would be Strahd, disappeared, I'd probably start searching for Vasily.
You would know where he ran off to. You guys were kind of, well, Victor would for sure, but you know the distance that he ran to if you wanted to head in that direction. About Victor and Warnick.
Well, and plus, isn't there the flare basically that he just sent up that kind of signals where he is too, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think Victor's going to start running, especially when he hears the screams, but then he's going to stop and he's going to turn and look towards Isaac, and he's going to walk over towards him and stand over his body, and he's going to look at his demonic arm. How is it attached to his body? Is it part of him, or does it look like a creature or something latched onto?
No,
his
it's a
arm?
part of him. It's a part of him. Yeah.
Is there anything special looking of the axe?
Pretty wicked looking axe. You don't really know if it was something he could do or whatever, but it's quite powerful.
Okay. With that in mind, Victor's gonna actually hold out his hand and like actually talking to this dead body and be like, "Wait right there," and then he's gonna go after because he's worried about his imaginary goat friend.
Isaac doesn't go anywhere. He stays right there. Yeah,
Well, especially not now that Victor told him to stay.
The axe is, I mean, it's very well crafted and it's pretty wicked looking with a curved blade and everything, but it's not like any relic-y looking type thing or anything like that, but it's cool. So you can see as Mud heads off into the distance, Victor behind him. As you're standing there, Mornek, what do you do? Oops. You're muted, in case you don't know. Unless he... Oh, he... Oh, maybe not. Oh, there he is.
I'm going to go ahead and just... Well, you know what? He's just going to see if he can take the arm off of Isaac. So he's going to take his dagger and he's just going to start cutting on the arm to see if he can separate it.
Yeah, he's just down... I mean, it is actually a part of his body. It is his arm and stuff. It's quite grotesque and much larger than his other one. It has this sort of grayish black tint to the skin. The hand itself has 6 fingers. They're all kind of curled back a little bit. But you can start cutting through it as you start to work it free and work on cutting it off. It'll take a little while, but certainly you can have Isaac's arm.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit here and cut on his arm while everyone else is doing their thing.
Nice. So, Victor and Mud, as you guys head into the woods, it's not too far before you can see Vasily in the distance. As you make your way through, you'll notice these dead bodies here and there crawling across this damp earth. Most of it just looking like ancient, rotting, decayed corpses, moving very, very slowly. Their pathetic moans sort of echoing through the woods. They're not really a threat. They're just seem to be all over the place. Even when they're close by, you just kind of kick them away. But they're all sorts of decay. You're muted.
And we do. So we find all the zombie corpses, and we do find Vasily.
Yeah, you would see Vasily as he's down and next to this rock where Irina was originally. But yeah, you don't see Irina. You would just see Vasily standing there.
I'm just standing there with my shoulders slumped and my head hanging down.
What happened to the woman?
The person came and took her. He tried to take her, but she resisted, and he didn't want to take her. He wanted her to come willingly. So he thought he would take me instead, but I had a little more bite. But still, she offered to go willingly in exchange. And then they left.
It's still better than her ending up with the freak, Isaac.
I don't know. Most that he could do was kill her. What this thing can do, she can live in torment for ages.
Let's gather back up. Let's gather together. Figure out our next steps.
I pick Isaac's heart up off the ground and carry it with me. Just casually in hand.
You guys can make your way back out of these woods. Again, these corpses don't really bother you, but they're just scattered everywhere. You reach out to the bank side, come back up on Mornak, who's just finishing slicing off the last little bits and working on getting the bones apart in the shoulder of this arm of Izek. You'll notice, Vasily, that this huge hole in Izek's chest where the heart once was is, once again, all of you sort of come back together. Up above the sky, you can see the slight little bit of light starting to form as what you can only assume would be morning arrives.
Victor, I've removed this
Yes.
arm from the body. I think we should go to a flesh crafter and have it put on you to replace your damaged one.
Well,
I was.
Do I think in any way that between me and Vasily we could attach this? A necromancer and a healer?
You could certainly try, but it is just a large dead arm at the moment.
I go up next to Izek's body and I toss his heart on him. We should leave him here. Might have need of him.
Is there a chance that he may come back as one of those things out there? Should we not just burn his corpse so he can't come back?
When Victor says that, probably about halfway through the sentence, after he says "come back," Mud's big spiked, ice sharded flail comes swinging around to crush Izek's head in.
It will be
We should cut him into tiny bits so that he can't reconstitute. And Mornak's just going to take his dagger and start stabbing it at the corpse.
You do realize, like, flames will do all of the work that you're trying to do. Like, you don't have to, like, disassemble them. You just burn them. Like, that would work. But, Vasily, take a look at this axe and see if this axe can give strength, or, like, is that what caused his mutated arm, or?
I'll cast Sense Magic on it, see if I can pick up anything off of it.
You can. It does have some sort of magic that radiates. You get it very heavy on the side of necromancy and conjuration.
It's definitely a magical axe.
Hey, you go outside. You go outside. Come on, let's go.
And I guess you would actually get one that's very heavy on the evil side as well.
It's very, very evil. Remember what last time you picked up an evil
you would
weapon?
say it's a magical. Well, I think, like, you say it's a magical axe. Victor goes, okay, and he reaches down to pick it up, and then you say it's evil, and then Victor, like, grabs a hold of the axe and just, like, looks at you like, really? Now you say that? Kind of.
Well, things don't always appear instantly. Sometimes I need to focus on them a bit.
As far as your side of things, Victor, you can reach down and lift this up. It feels like a very well-crafted, very ornate axe. It's quite heavy on the blade side, and you can see that it's quite powerful. And when you do a swing, you don't really sense anything coming off of it, but you're not a mage either.
Try throwing it, see if it comes back to you. Throw it out towards the lake.
Well, can I tell that like I'm just inadequate to use this thing properly, or is it just like beyond my senses?
What is your strength score?
My strength is 12.
So yeah, it would be two-handed for you to use. I don't believe you have a second hand. In one hand, you would have two banes to attack with it.
You could attach that as your arm.
Okay. I am actually going to try to throw it, but I'm not going to throw it in the lake. I'm going to throw it at a tree and see what happens.
Hurl it forward. You know, with one arm, it goes a little less flighty as you would, at least not as well as old Isaac threw this thing. But yeah, it'll chunk into the tree and just stay there.
Okay. Victor's gonna like hold out his hand, like try, and then he's gonna like try to wave it back and do all sorts of stupid shit with this axe, and finally just walk over there and grab it.
It doesn't come back to you.
I'm going to drag it.
I'd have some command word that you
All
have
right.
to utter to
Well,
link it to you.
we didn't hear Isaac say anything when he threw it, so
Maybe he can think it.
then I think we might be in trouble if he can think it. But on that note, I think we should probably be getting back to town. Well, actually, no, wait. Mud, can you help her? And Victor's going to point at the woman with the broken neck.
Isn't she a half a woman now?
Well, that's Stefan.
Oh, that's the song. I can go over and attempt to do a divine healing.
She's dead.
Yeah. No. There's nothing I can do here. It's too late.
You can give her a proper burial at least.
I think we should probably take her back to her family and let them know, because they may have different funeral rites.
I'll gather the woman up.
You do notice that I'm visibly dejected.
What is it, Vesely? What ails you now?
I look at him with kind of a look on my face, just like a blank look. Then I look around. I look at the dead lady with the broken neck. I look at Isaac. I look at my hand, had all the blood all over it, where I was holding his heart. He said, "Oh, nothing." It's just the weather, I guess. Oh, and the fact that we were assaulted by some horrible creature that walked over all of us, could have taken all of us apart at any moment in time, took our one charge away from us. We were about as effectual as those shambling creatures.
That's kind of the way it felt like, didn't it?
So you might say I feel kind of worthless
So
at the
wait,
moment.
what happened on the lake? But what happened on the lake, Mud and Mornak? Did you guys rescue the girl?
We did not. The girl.
Go ahead, Mornick. Sorry.
The girl was killed by a giant fish before I could get her into the boat.
And
I don't know what came of the man who was holding her captive.
So when
but of course they weren't.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, of course, it wasn't Irina and Izek. I'm going to kind of look at both Mud and Mornak, who, firmly believe that it was them before, even though, us two told them that it wasn't. Just kind of give them that, like, little stare down, see? This is what you get for not listening.
Mornak looks at the ground and says, I should have listened.
Mud's going to have a slightly more visceral reaction. Unless Victor tries to stop him, Mud's going to grab the axe from Victor and turn around and completely go bloodlust on Izek's body with his own axe, tearing it to pieces with his own axe.
I don't think Victor would stop you.
Yeah. So Mud will drop Stefania's body, tear the axe free, and just, start ripping into Izek's corpse. And every couple of blows, Mud's going to kind of glance over his shoulder like he's looking for approval. Not to the group. He's looking out in the distance. And, he's looking between the trees for another orc. And we'll probably continue going until somebody stops him where there's nothing but puddles.
Well, I think Victor will give you probably about a minute of hacking and slashing, and then if you show basically no signs of easing up, I think Victor will come and just like put his hand on your shoulder kind of deal to basically say that's enough.
So if you're hacking at this thing and you look around, particularly looking for something or for someone, I sense, you can see that figure, always in the distance, sometimes right there at your shoulder, other times off to the side. But you can see that figure, Mud, in between a pair of old pines. Seems to watch. There's this sense of maybe like a pathetic sort of approval, like you would look at somebody who isn't very good at something still doing it anyway. And you get that little bit of wash of disgrace, a little bit of wash of patheticacy. You can hear that voice just at the edges of your ears. Too bad he wasn't alive, Mud. Maybe then he would have been worthwhile.
Mud will turn and fling the axe to that closest tree where I see him.
Buries nice and deep into the chunk of wood, blade deep. This figure will look at that and look at you. And pathetic. You had a real foe in front of you, Mud. That man who made short work of Izek. That will be your goal.
Mud will turn and stomp off. He'll leave Stefania's body. He'll just start walking away from the group. And I don't know if I should do this.
Says it's so easy to kill somebody who's already dead, isn't it?
Without looking back, after I start walking off, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. Mud will reach his open hand back and think about the axe and try to bring it back from the tree to him.
What is your corruption?
2.
So what you're going to do is basically like a corruption roll. It'd be a 1d20 plus that.
So 10 on the excuse me, 10 on the die. So 12 total.
As you do that, you can all see as Mud's walking away, this axe once again appear into his hand. And with that, you're going to take 1d4 corruption.
Oh, I knew that was a bad idea. I got a D4 around here somewhere. If I could see.
Well, actually, do it. I forgot. That was with...
You stole my axe.
I really didn't mean to. It was just, it felt right.
Don't roll that yet, because that's with D&D. I forgot we don't have a D4. So how about a 1d3 plus 1? So a D6 cut in half plus 1.
3 total.
So take 3 points of corruption.
Oh.
That's going to have some bad side effects when you wake up next time, too.
Yeah. Victor, I totally didn't mean that. It just felt right.
I think I'm going to be the most normal-looking one.
No, it's all right.
I literally did not even...
I just, wrote it down on my character sheet.
Okay, hold on. First off, I ripped my headphone right out of my ear. That hurt. I really didn't even think about that until I started walking away. I'm so sorry.
No, it's good, dude. Like,
oh no.
Let's see. I can actually have you roll to see what your... Somewhere there. Give me a 1d100 roll.
Oh
We
boy.
can...
So that is 37.
Damn it, where'd it go? Right there. Okay. Let me mark that so we have it next time. It won't come into after you have a nice long rest or whatever, but...
We're just never going to sleep again. That's how we beat it.
So you'll be walking away. This axe feels comforting. Feels right. Something that you've should have had a long time ago. In fact, nobody else better touch your axe. Nobody.
well, seeing how Mud now has my axe, Victor's going to go over to the girl's body that he was carrying and pick her up and just kind of look sad and start taking her back to town.
Is everybody else headed back to town then, or anything else?
I just kind well, no, he's already smashed up. Yeah, no, there's nothing else here. I sidle up next to Victor and says, I honestly think you're much better off without it.
You're probably right, but it looked really cool though.
But the evil that emanated off of that blade when I was scrying it, I don't think it's a good thing to have.
And should we let Mud, being who Mud is, keep this weapon?
He's a free moral agent. I'm not going to tell him what he can and can't do. If he wants an evil axe of death and destruction and magic, he can have an evil axe of death and destruction and magic. But there's consequences. There's consequences for everything. And as I said, there's consequences for everything. I feel my horns and the thorns that are protruding off the side of it. And my forked tongue flicks out of my mouth.
Mornak's gonna pull
Well,
out his
that's
pack.
true. And Victor's.
Go ahead, Victor.
Oh, Victor's just gonna look at that you, Vasily, and smile, and blood's just running down his face, and it's like that. Yes, that's true.
Mornak's gonna pull a bottle out of his pack and then say, "I think we all need a drink. And he pours a little bit out onto the ground and says, "That's for Irina."
Well, she's still alive, isn't she? That's the name. What was the name of the bird woman?
Stefania.
Stefania. Maybe pour some out for Stefania. She's departed.
Mornak shrugs and then pours some out for Stefania, and then starts passing the bottle around to Vasily.
Maybe when we're back in town, I'd like to keep my wits about me when we're out here in these horrible dead woods.
This is how I keep my wits about me. Mornak
Ah.
takes a big swig.
I think we need a night's rest, and then I want to go to that woods where that tree is. The old knock. I want to head there. There's said to be something. I remember in our conversation with a friend in town, he said there was something that was buried there by the tree. If it's something that will give us power over this despicable brute that holds sway over this land, then I want to dig up that ground, chop that tree down, do whatever's necessary. Now that we have an axe to chop down a tree with.
Well, we may have to deal with the druid mother, because I think that's where she is.
Well, we have an axe to chop her down, too.
So, that might... Okay.
Anymore. I say we go find her and kill her.
Sounds like a plan.
As you make your way through this forest and once again out to the main road, the fog itself is starting to lift a little bit more light in the sky. Still not much like a late dusk or early dawn, being that there's no sun here. You can make your way back towards Valakai. In the distance, you can see the town as you come up over the knoll and start heading down into the valley. When you left, it was the St. Andrew's Church was engulfed in flames. Now it looks like probably a good half of the city is engulfed in flames. You can see the people, the town square is just filled with people. You can hear screaming and yelling. Even if you're out, probably about a mile up the road, their voices and their screams just echo through the valley. There's something that's going on, but it's mostly I guess as you guys are looking at it, would be more the north end of the town is just completely engulfed in flames, where the church would be, the burgomaster's mansion, the Blue Water Inn, that whole side of the town.
So as we're actually walking up, if I can throw something in before we get there, as we're walking, I want to turn to Vasily and say, we made a mistake on the boat. It wasn't Isaac. But
oh well.
That was the man your sister was hunting before we released her.
Huntings? What?
She, Morgan, I'm remembering this correctly, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She was searching for the girl and to get the girl away from Buford. That was Buford we ran up on the lake.
Do I know Buford?
You do not know. She mentioned that she had been staying for quite a while with the Vistani camp, or at the Vistani camp outside of Valakai. There was a young girl who was kidnapped there by Buford, and she was basically her hunting or searching for him for what she said was days, but
it wasn't Isaac, but your sister can rest. We finished what she was
Until I
doing.
came to this land, I thought she had rested a long time ago. I'm not so certain that everything in this place isn't mere smoke and mirrors. In my opinion, she's been at rest for a long time.
It's true. You never know what's going to happen here.
Smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors. It's all we see is smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors.
Mudd will kind of just look at his hands. Yes. Smoke. And that, timing wise, I think that's when we kind of see see Valakai in the distance in the burning.
Yes, I smell smoke.
Yeah, you can see the north side of the town, the northern gates that would lead further, like out towards the Wizard of Wines winery. But that whole side of the town and the church is just engulfed in flames and black smoke. What people are left there, all town crowded around the town center, down where you saw some people that were in their shackles and barracks, and the those that were being punished. Outside border wall still has those large wreaths that they were making out of pine and twigs. Tomorrow, well, it would be tomorrow, now that it's a new day, was going to be the festival of the burning sun. Perhaps it just started a little early.
On the bright side, there'll be no child sacrifices. It might be safer to head back to Barovia. As odd as that sounds.
I think on the brighter side of that, we don't have to perform in that stupid festival. That's the better note. But I don't think we should go to Barovia if you want to go to that grove with the tree thingy, because I think that's in the opposite direction.
Well, I mean, eventually. We do have the corpse of this priest, this saint. What if we took it to Barovia and sanctified the ground there, created that barrier that was there, that kept the devil out?
Did we hang one to the remains?
Yeah,
Yes.
what's his name still has him back in town.
Yep.
He has the invisibility ring and that body.
Well, no, we decided
Just because Dre wasn't here, I just gave Vasily the ring, so technically you have the ring now.
Okay. Because he went up. The last time I remember it being used is he had it and he went off to go spy on the Burgomaster, so I thought you still had it. Okay.
And then the bones, I'm assuming Dre stayed back per se, so they would be with like Irwin or somebody safe, so you can get them.
So, and if I remember the map that popped out in Messenger a little bit ago, we're pretty far on the west side, and Barovia is pretty far on the east, right?
Yep, Barovia is way over on the right-hand side of the map, just as you guys came in. Valakai is almost dead center at the top.
That's right. So we're
Over at the far left that's cleared out, that is the Wizard of Wines winery over there.
okay. So we're pretty close to wherever we want to go.
The castle.
That's kind of what I'm saying. That kind of in character. We're in Valakai. We're just as close to this tree, this old knock, as we are Barovia. And I believe we still have an appointment with Mother at some point as well.
Maybe we should find out.
Yes, we need to deal with Mother.
Maybe we should find out what everyone's screaming about, if it's something other than the town on fire.
So be it. At the very least, we can get our cart.
Oh yes, our cart. That's the bright side. We have a cart. I forgot about that. I'm trying to find any bright side in this whole
the cart with no
situation.
horses that. But is it killed the horses? So we have a cart, but we have no horses.
There's probably horses running around somewhere.
Mud will just pop the axe over his shoulders. I'll get us new horses. And start walking towards Valakai.
You can make your way down this road. Look around, Mud. I can imagine you're leading the way a little bit. This area that you're walking, you can see some of these trees, particularly a couple of large oaks that hang over top of the roadway. You glance down. This was where you left her corpse. Quick, orcish burial, but there's nothing there now. And that thought sort of just passes by for a moment. But as the rest of you head on into Valakai, the front gates of the town are completely hanging open. They were torn apart when Strahd had left to begin with. They still lie there to the side, rusted, creaked apart, and kind of mangled. The road into town, pretty much clear. There's corpses, there's bodies lying about still from the night before, both wolves and town people. You can see these wreaths hanging all the way around the border wall. None of them have been lit. The whole town is clogged with this thick smoke. You can hear the screaming, the yelling. It doesn't sound like screams of fear or pain. No, it's much more one of anger, frustration. You can hear the people as they yell, "Kill him! Stone him to death! Tie him from the loose!"
How are you?
I'm looking around, see if I can see any indication of who's talking and about what. Or about whom.
Start to make your way into town a little bit. You can see the crowd up ahead. There's a couple of big trees in the town square that sort of offer shade to everybody, and it's a little bit more of a gathering place. But you can see a couple nooses hanging from the tree. From one hangs the body of Lydia, the burgomaster's wife. Her head's cocked to the side, snapped, and she's just covered in blood as her gown, this white gown that she's wearing. From the other noose hangs the son, Victor. He too, his neck is crooked, covered in blood. You can see part of his face is just completely blown out, bruised and smashed in. You can hear between all these other people yelling and screaming, this old cackling voice sort of laughs a little bit. "Now, Burgomaster. Who's going to save you now, Burgomaster?" And you see this kid on the outskirts of the group of people looking around, and he picks up this stone that he has in hand and starts to make his way through the crowd. As you guys come into the crowd and maybe step up on a couple porch buildings or something, you can see in the town center, everybody has circled around. The burgomaster lays on the ground. His hands have been shackled behind him. There's stones everywhere. His people have been pelting him, hitting him. And he lays on the ground, just his face is covered in blood. You see this kid, maybe 10, 11 at best, walk out, and he looks at this huge rock. Everybody's just screaming and cheering. And he lifts it above his head and just brings it down on the burgomaster's skull. The whole town lets out this cheer. You can see Mother Wachter, Carl and Nikolai's mom, the one you thought was a different mother for a while there, standing on a platform in between the two trees, her hands behind her back, this gray gown that she's wearing, and she just smiles as she's looking over top of all the enraged, the furious townsfolk. And this kid, as he just smashes the skull over and over of the burgomaster.
I think we should probably leave.
Something is afoul in old town. What was the name of this place?
Valakai.
Something is afoul in old Valakai. What about the inn? Is it on fire?
I think it's one mystery that we should probably not.
Yes, the inn would be on the north side of town, which all the buildings are just covered in flames. You would see the burgomaster's mansion. Most of it has pretty much been crumpled and burnt down, but this is what little bit is still left, has flames gushing out the side. The church is pretty much decimated, just a few standing stones. Most of the houses are gone. You can see the Blue Water Inn. Most of the flames are out on that, but again, it's beyond repair. It's nearly half of it's burnt and crisp and charred.
I'll just take a quick glance around to see if we see Dre anywhere.
Nah. You will see Erwin, the patron of the Blue Water Inn, stands off to the side, not really a part of the crowd, and you can see just the disgust, the worry, the hopelessness on his face. His wife beside him. You don't see his two sons anywhere, though.
Mornak wants to go over
I'm actually going to walk up.
Go ahead, Mornak.
Mornak wants to go ahead and walk up to Erwin and just say, "Erwin, what madness is this?"
can see he stands there and he looks over as you're coming up and listens to you as you talk to him and shakes his. My friends, this is what you get when the Wachter house takes control of the town. This is what you get when the burgomaster can't promise protection. When all he does is play festival after festival and give false hope to these people. They spent their lives thinking that they were safe and had it all crushed in a moment. Eventually, the pot boils over. And he'll just stare off at all these people. It's disgusting. You're muted, Tim.
I'm sorry. We could perhaps escort you to your family's winery. It's better than staying in this place.
He shakes his head a little bit. Well, don't think I have much choice these days. I already sent my maid and 2 children out to the winery. I was planning to go myself. I'm not going to stay here, not with these people.
There's no town left for them to rule over.
They don't realize the hatred that they're harvesting, the corruption that they're letting sink in. When he says corruption, he will glance past you, Mornek, and he sort of locks eyes with you, Mud. He looks at this axe that you carry. Looks like sickness is spread a little bit everywhere. A little bit everywhere.
I don't think Mud will even respond, but once he says it, Mud will take a glance over his shoulder. And not that he's going to do anything about it right this second, but he wants to see if he has a clear shot to the Wachter woman.
To, like, throw the axe, or?
Yes. He's not going to necessarily throw it right this second, but he's kind of just looking and judging.
Yeah, she fairly ranged out, but yeah, she's standing up fairly high on a podium type thing, or like a stage platform, which was built originally for the festival, but she's making use of it as her own little stage, looking down on all the people. Most of them just still throwing stones and yelling and stuff. Everybody's definitely charged up over this. Both bodies of the son and the mother swinging from the branches above, sort of picture framing this woman.
All right, Mud will just kind of stare at her while everybody else continues to converse. Kind of lost in thought there.
Let's find some horses.
Victor's going to walk forward, actually, and still carrying this woman, the dead woman, and he's just going to have his head hanging down low a little bit, and he's just going to say, I'm sorry. She fought bravely, but she just couldn't do anything against him.
Everyone looks at this body in your hands for a few. You see he turns towards his wife, Danica. Whispers something to her. She nods and starts heading off back towards where the winery is, and turns back around to you guys. You know, there was always something about that girl. She never knew when to play it safe, a little too impulsive. But she was good. She was good. We'll take her to the winery as well. My brother will need to know that she has passed on. I'm sure he already knows, but just let me gather my things. I'll have horses. We can get the carts. We can leave within the hour. I don't want to stay here anymore. You're welcome to come. He'll turn and start to walk away. Stops out a few of them, turns back and says, "What do you mean she didn't have any power against him? Who did this?"
Him.
And what of Isaac?
He had equally as little power.
And we had even less.
He just nods and turns. You can see his shoulders slump down a little bit. His head hangs and he just stares at his feet as he walks back, sort of trailing Danica, headed back to the Blue Water Inn as well. Beside you, Vasily, you'll see a man step up, bright-colored clothes. He has these plumy, sort of bell-bottom-like pants. This vest that he has looks to be stitched together in all sorts of squares, bright pinks and blues and greens. The skin is this darkish color. It says, "She was a very beautiful girl that you had with her. It's a shame she went and got her neck broken like that. Says, you look like the kind of fawn that would like a bit of revenge, yes?"
And who might you be?
Says, I didn't introduce myself. It's a little bit forgetful sometimes, Vasily. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. He'll take this huge, sweeping bow as he steps back up. You'll notice, didn't see it before, but he now holds a cane in his hand. You see the crooked crow's feet in his eyes, a little bit wrinkled skin. It does look like he's probably in his 50s, maybe 60s. He says, I am your Octavio, entertainer, performer, and devil hunter.
Oh,
Puts
I
his
see.
arm around you. Says, come, let's have a chat. Eh?
I'm sorry I don't know who you are.
But I introduced my... perhaps I forgot. He once again takes this sweeping bow. I am a Rictavio, entertainer.
Yes. But I don't know who you are. And this is not a place where one just wanders off casually with complete strangers in red capes.
He says, I get it. A little bit scared at heart. Yeah, like a deer in the bright lantern lights. I see. He says, don't you worry, my funny little friend. We will get to know each other in due time. Perhaps we can reconvene shortly. I have to go feed my cats. He'll turn and start to walk away.
Will you go do that? This place gets weirder and weirder. I lean in the mud and Victor, this place just gets weirder and weirder.
Mud will start a bit, and if anybody's paying close attention, they would have seen Mud was gripping the axe, preparing to throw. And then, what is it this time?
I don't know, some weirdo with a cape. He wanted me to go wander off with him somewhere. He said he was a devil hunter. And an entertainer extraordinaire. Looked like some sideshow carny freak to me.
I don't think Mud will even say anything. He will just stare at Vasily.
Yeah, with his forked tongue. Victor's standing there with blood coming down his face and Mornak's eyes. He's a weirdo.
Once again, we're the good guys.
Yeah.
Victor's going to speak up and say, like, so are we going back to the Wizards of Wine? Or, because I wouldn't mind doing that. at least getting some rest before we head out on our travels. But if that's so, should we try to at least gather some supplies before we leave?
Yeah, so whatever we can, if we can find some horses at least.
Yeah, he can provide the horses and wagon and everything, and that's where he's planning on going, so he offered you guys a ride as well.
Okay. Why, were you looking, is this the politically correct way of saying you want to loot some of the empty houses?
Good guys.
No. And Victor's just going to be like, where did that come from? Kind of. No, I was thinking of maybe trying to go see a blacksmith. If the blacksmith's still standing, I don't know if it's been burnt down.
He's probably in the
still
circle
have
throwing.
Isaac's dead arm, by the way. I brought it with us.
Everybody out there is throwing stones. There's one guy that's just throwing little hammers.
Found the blacksmith.
Are these hammers returning to him? And he's like,
my turn.
Found Mini Thor.
All right. Yeah, you guys will see Erwin as he is headed towards the Blue Water Inn, but he offered you a ride and whatever you might need if you wanted to go with him, but that is where he is heading, is the Wizard of Wines. He does want to take Stefania's body with him, regardless what you guys do, so that he can return it to his brother, which would be her husband.
Whenever we run into him again, I just want to ask him if he still has the remains of that saint.
Yeah, you can catch up to him, but he'll nod. Oh, yes. Your skinny friend left it with us before he took off. Said he had prior commitments.
It's an odd one. As my forked tongue comes out.
Yes. Says, go ahead and meet me. Give me an hour. I will get these carts right up. We saved our horses and the wagons and the wine as well. We will get it all gathered up. A couple of bottles on me, my friends. You can ride with us. Make your own way, but we are headed to the winery. Perhaps we can decide what to do from there.
Ornak perks up. Wine, you said?
I knew that would bring you along, my friend. I knew that would bring you along. Just be warned. We have to deal with that old bastard again. It is stick.
Which old bastard? There's a lot of them.
Go ahead, Victor.
Victor will immediately put his hands on top of his head, shielding himself from getting hit from a stick.
Oh, your relative old bastard. Oh. Well, the things that we've seen, I think we can handle him.
Can you give us a few hours before we leave? I think we need to gather some supplies, prepare ourselves for another journey outside of civilization.
Of course, my friends. Get what you need and meet me at what's left of the inn. He says, don't wait long. These people are bound to turn on anybody who doesn't conform.
Yeah, the guy throwing tiny hammers, where's his shop?
He's not there right now, but down the street here.
Victor, that's what you were looking for, correct?
Yes.
Let's get what we need and get out of this place before it all burns.
Burns. Beautiful. I think that will be a good spot for the night then. We will pick it up with you guys doing your travel shopping and headed out of Valakai. So let me stop this.